As Carl Jung revealed, you were never born to heal the world, but to awaken it. Welcome to Jung's Psyche Hub, where we dive deep into the mysteries of the human soul. Today, we're uncovering a truth that could change how you see yourself forever. Empaths aren't here to patch up the wounds of others. You're here to shine a light on the collective shadow, the hidden, buried truths humanity refuses to face. Your sensitivity, it's not a flaw. It's a superpower. In this video, we'll take you on a journey through 4 powerful chapters. You'll discover what the collective shadow really is, why your sensitivity is a sacred gift, how to transform from an overwhelmed sponge into a fearless oracle, and how you, as an empath, can awaken the world to its forgotten truths. Along the way, we'll share real-life stories of empaths like Mia, James, and Sarah, who turned their pain into purpose. So, if you've ever felt like you're carrying a burden too heavy to explain, stick with us. By the end of this video, you'll understand why you feel so deeply and how to use that gift to change not just your life, but the world around you. Let's dive in. Picture this. You're walking through a crowded room, and suddenly, a wave of sadness hits you like a tidal wave. Your chest tightens, your eyes well up, but you can't pinpoint why. No one around you seems to notice they're laughing, talking, living their lives, but you feel like you're drowning in an emotion that doesn't belong to you. If you're an empath, this isn't just a random moment. It's a glimpse into your deeper purpose, one that Carl Jung, the legendary Swiss psychologist, understood better than most. You're not just feeling your own pain, you're tuning into the collective shadow, the hidden underbelly of humanity's psyche. But what exactly is this shadow? And why are empaths so uniquely connected to it? Let's dive into the first chapter of our journey. To understand the role of an empath, we first need to unpack Carl Jung's concept of the collective shadow. Carl Jung believed that just as every individual has a personal shadow, those parts of ourselves we hide, repress, or denude, like anger, shame, or unfulfilled desires. Society as a whole has a collective shadow. This is the psychic residue of everything humanity has swept under the rug: unspoken rage, buried trauma, forgotten dreams, and shameful secrets passed down from generation to generation. It's the guilt of wars, the pain of oppression, the silenced cries of ancestors, all woven into the fabric of our collective unconscious. This shadow isn't just a metaphor, it's a living force, a repository of energy that shapes how we think, act, and live, even when we don't realize it. Now, imagine the collective shadow as a vast, dark ocean, churning with emotions and memories most people are too afraid to face. Most of us build walls to keep it at bay. We distract ourselves with work, numb ourselves with entertainment, or project our pain onto others. But empaths, you don't have those walls. Your sensitivity makes you a kind of psychic antenna, picking up signals from this ocean that others can't or won't feel. You're like the canary in the coal mine of the human psyche, sensing danger, or in this case, truth, before anyone else does. Your tears, your anxiety, your unexplainable heaviness, they're not signs of weakness. They're evidence that you're tapped into something much bigger than yourself. Let's make this real with a story. Meet Mia, a 32-year-old graphic designer from Chicago. Mia always felt different, like she was carrying a sadness she couldn't explain. At family gatherings, she'd suddenly feel overwhelmed by grief, even when everyone else was celebrating. For years, she thought something was wrong with her. Maybe she was too sensitive, too broken. Therapy didn't fully explain it, Her childhood was relatively stable. Her life was good. But one day, during a session with a Jungian therapist, Mia began to explore her family history. She discovered that her grandparents had fled their homeland during a brutal war, leaving behind everything they knew. No one in her family ever talked about it. The pain was too raw, too heavy. But Mia, she was carrying it. Her sadness wasn't just hers, it was the unprocessed grief of her ancestors, echoing through her nervous system. This is what makes empaths so extraordinary and so burdened. You don't just feel your own emotions, you feel the weight of the collective. Carl Jung called this the collective unconscious, a shared psychic reservoir that connects all of humanity. It's where archetypes, dreams, and symbols live. And it's where the collective shadow hides. When you, as an empath, feel a sudden pang of guilt, anger, or sorrow that doesn't seem to belong to you, it's often the collective unconscious speaking through you. You're not broken. You're a translator, giving voice to what's been silenced. But here's where it gets tricky. Most empaths don't realize they're carrying this collective burden. You might think your anxiety is about your job, your relationships, or something you did wrong. In reality, you could be picking up on the unhealed wounds of your family, your community, or even your culture. Carl Jung observed that the unconscious doesn't respect individual boundaries. It flows freely, like water seeping through cracks. Empaths, with their porous boundaries, become the vessels for this flow. You feel the rage of a society that's been taught to suppress anger. You carry the shame of a culture that's buried its mistakes. You ache for the dreams that humanity has forgotten. So, why does this matter? Because understanding your connection to the collective shadow is the first step to reclaiming your power as an empath. If you don't recognize that the pain you feel isn't always yours, you risk drowning in it. You might spend your life trying to fix others, your friends, your family, even strangers, because you think their pain is your responsibility. But Carl Jung's insight flips this on its head. You're not here to heal the world's wounds. You're here to reveal them. Your job is to make the invisible visible, to bring the collective shadow into the light, so it can be faced, understood, and integrated. Let's look at another example. Consider a moment in history, like the civil rights movement in the United States. During that time, there were empaths, activists, artists, everyday people who felt the collective pain of racial injustice. They didn't just feel it, they channeled it into action. Art, and words that woke others up. Their sensitivity wasn't a weakness, it was a catalyst. They weren't trying to heal racism by absorbing it. They were exposing it, forcing society to confront its shadow. This is the empath's true calling, not to fix, but to awaken. But awakening the collective shadow isn't easy. It's heavy, messy, and often thankless work. When you feel the world's pain, it can feel like you're carrying a mountain on your shoulders. You might be labeled too much, too emotional, or too sensitive. People might not understand why you cry at the news, why you feel drained in crowds, or why you dream of burning cities or weeping ancestors. But here's the truth. Your sensitivity is your strength. It's what allows you to see what others can't. It's what makes you a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between what's seen and what's hidden. So, how do you start embracing this role? The first step is awareness. Stop assuming every emotion you feel is yours. When you're hit with a wave of sadness, anger, or fear, pause and ask, is this mine? Or am I picking up something bigger? Journaling can help write down what you feel and look for patterns. Are you feeling grief after visiting a certain place? Anxiety after a family event? These could be clues that you're tapping into the collective shadow. The second step is to protect your energy. Empaths often absorb too much, leaving themselves drained. Visualize a shield of light around you, or practice grounding techniques like deep breathing or spending time in nature. These small acts can help you stay centered while still honoring your sensitivity. By the end of this chapter, we hope you're starting to see your role as an empath in a new light. You're not here to carry the world's pain forever. You're here to name it, to witness it, and to help others see it too. In the next chapter, we'll explore why your sensitivity has been misunderstood and how to reframe it as a sacred gift. But for now, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt a pain that didn't feel like yours? Share your story in the comments. We're all in this journey together. Have you ever been told you're too sensitive? Maybe a friend rolled their eyes when you got emotional over a movie. Or a family member told you to toughen up when you felt overwhelmed in a crowded room. If you're an empath, these words probably hit hard. You've spent years wondering if something's wrong with you, if your deep feelings are a flaw you need to fix. But what if Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, was right when he said, your sensitivity isn't a weakness, it's a sacred initiation. In this chapter, we're going to flip the script on what it means to be an empath. Your sensitivity isn't a curse, it's a gift. One that's been misunderstood by a world that doesn't know how to handle deep emotion. Let's explore why and how you can start embracing it. First, let's talk about why being an empath feels so heavy. As we learned in Chapter 1, empaths are like psychic antennas, picking up on the collective shadow, the hidden pain, rage, and dreams of humanity. But because you feel so much, it's easy to assume that something's broken inside you. Society doesn't help. We live in a culture that celebrates toughness, logic, and keeping it together. Emotions, especially the intense ones, are often seen as a sign of weakness. If you cry easily, get drained in social settings, or feel the weight of the world's problems, people might label you as overly emotional or fragile. But Carl Jung saw it differently. He believed that sensitivity, especially in empaths, is a doorway to the soul's deeper truths. It's not a flaw, it's a call to step into your true power. So, why do empaths feel like their sensitivity is a burden? It's because you're not just feeling your own emotions, you're carrying the unspoken pain of others. Think of yourself as a radio tuned to a frequency most people can't hear. While others are blissfully unaware, you're picking up static from the collective unconscious, the grief of a friend who never talks about their loss, the anger of a co-worker suppressing their frustration, or even the ancient wounds of your ancestors. This makes you feel too much. Not because you're weak, but because you're permeable. Your boundaries are porous, allowing the world's emotions to flow through you. Without understanding this, it's easy to misinterpret your sensitivity as damage, when in reality, it's a sacred gift designed to help you see what others can't. Let's bring this to life with a story. Meet James, a 8-year-old teacher from Seattle. Growing up, James was always the sensitive kid. He'd cry during arguments, feel drained after family gatherings, and even sense tension in rooms before anyone said a word. His friends called him too soft, and his parents urged him to man up. James internalized this, believing his sensitivity was a flaw. He tried to suppress it, avoiding emotional situations and pretending everything was fine. But the more he pushed his feelings down, the more anxious and disconnected he became. One day, a mentor introduced him to Carl Jung's work on the collective unconscious. Through journaling and dream analysis, James realized his sensitivity wasn't a defect. It was a strength. He started noticing how his ability to feel others' emotions helped him connect with his students, diffuse conflicts, and create a safe space for them to open up. His sensitivity wasn't holding him back. It was his superpower. Carl Jung called this kind of sensitivity an initiation, a process where the psyche prepares you for a deeper purpose. For empaths, this initiation often feels like a descent into the underworld, a place of confusion, pain, and self-doubt, before you emerge with clarity and strength. The problem is, most empaths get stuck in the descent. You might feel overwhelmed by emotions, take on others' pain as your own, or believe you're too broken to function in the world. But here's the truth. Your sensitivity is what makes you a bridge between the conscious and unconscious worlds. It's what allows you to see the hidden truths that others avoid. The challenge is learning to honor this gift without letting it consume you. So, how do you reframe your sensitivity as a sacred gift? It starts with shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing your emotions as a burden, see them as a language, a way the psyche communicates. When you feel a sudden wave of sadness or anger, don't rush to judge it or push it away. Instead, ask, what is this trying to tell me? Is it your own emotion? Or are you picking up something from the collective? This simple question can help you separate your personal feelings from the larger energies you're tuned into. Over time, this practice turns your sensitivity into a tool for insight, not a source of overwhelm. Let's look at a practical example. Imagine you're at a coffee shop, and out of nowhere, you feel a knot of anxiety in your stomach. Your first instinct might be to think, what's wrong with me? But as an empath, that anxiety might not be yours. Maybe you're picking up on the stress of the barista who's struggling with a tough day, or even the collective tension of a city grappling with change. Instead of absorbing it, try this. Take a deep breath, ground yourself, and silently acknowledge the feeling. I see you, but you're not mine. This small act of awareness can help you stay centered without taking on the world's pain. Another key to embracing your sensitivity is setting boundaries. Empaths often struggle with this because you naturally want to help others. But without boundaries, you become a sponge, soaking up every emotion around you until you're drained. Carl Jung's concept of individuation can help here. It's the process of becoming your true self by balancing your inner world with the outer world. For empaths, this means learning to say no to taking on others' pain while still staying compassionate. Picture it like this. Instead of diving into the ocean of collective emotions, you're standing on the shore, observing the waves without letting them pull you under. Practices like meditation, visualization, imagine a protective shield of light around you, or even taking breaks from overstimulating environments can help you maintain this balance. Let's revisit James' story. After discovering Carl Jung's teachings, he started setting boundaries. When he felt overwhelmed in social settings, he'd excuse himself for a few minutes to breathe and recenter. He also began using active imagination, a Jungian technique where you dialogue with your emotions or dream symbols. One night, he dreamt of a stormy sea, and instead of running from it, he imagined himself asking the sea, "What do you want me to know through this?" He realized the storm represented the unexpressed anger in his family, a pattern he'd been carrying unconsciously. By acknowledging it without absorbing it, James felt lighter, more in control. His sensitivity became a compass, guiding him to truth instead of drowning him in chaos. The lesson here is profound. Your sensitivity is not a flaw to be fixed. It's a sacred gift to be honed. It's what makes you a seer, a feeler of truths that others miss. But to wield this gift, you need to protect it. Stop apologizing for feeling deeply. Stop believing you're too much. Instead, start seeing your sensitivity as a divine antenna, picking up signals from the soul of the world. In the next chapter, We'll explore how to transform from an overwhelmed sponge into a powerful oracle, one who witnesses without merging. But for now, reflect on this. When was the last time you felt too sensitive? How might that moment have been a glimpse of your deeper purpose? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. Imagine this. You're at a family dinner, and the tension in the room feels like a storm cloud, ready to burst. Everyone else seems fine, laughing and chatting, but you're quietly drowning in a mix of anger, sadness, and unease that isn't yours. As an empath, you've probably spent years soaking up emotions like a sponge, carrying the weight of other people's pain until it feels like your own. It's exhausting, overwhelming, and leaves you wondering, why can't I just turn it off? But what if you could transform this burden into a gift in this chapter? We're diving into the journey of moving from being an overwhelmed sponge to becoming a powerful oracle, a witness to the world's truths without being consumed by them. Inspired by Carl Jung's teachings, we'll explore how shadow work can help you reclaim your power and step into your true role as an empath. Let's start by unpacking what it means to be a sponge. As an empath, your natural sensitivity makes you absorb emotions like a sponge soaks up water. You walk into a room and instantly feel the unspoken grief of a friend, the hidden frustration of a co-worker, or even the collective anxiety of a city. This isn't just intuition, it's a deep attunement to the collective unconscious. That vast psychic reservoir Carl Jung described as the shared soul of humanity. But here's the catch: without boundaries. This gift can feel like a curse. You take on so much that you lose yourself, becoming a vessel for emotions that don't belong to you. You might try to fix others' pain, believing it's your job to heal them. Or you might shut down, overwhelmed by the sheer weight of it all. Either way, you're stuck in a cycle of exhaustion, feeling like you're carrying the world's burdens. Now, contrast that with the image of an oracle. In ancient myths, oracles weren't just fortune tellers. They were seers who spoke hidden truths, standing at the threshold between the visible and invisible worlds. For Carl Jung, the empath's true calling is to become this kind of oracle, someone who witnesses the collective shadow, the repressed pain, rage, and dreams of humanity without merging with it. This transformation requires shadow work, a Jungian practice of facing and integrating the parts of ourselves and the collective that we'd rather ignore. Shadow work isn't about fixing or erasing pain. It's about bringing it into the light, naming it, and understanding its message. For empaths, this means learning to feel deeply without losing yourself, to see the world's truths without drowning in them. Let's make this real with a story. Meet Sarah, a 5-year-old nurse from Boston. Sarah was a classic empath. She could sense her patients' fears before they spoke, and she'd often leave work feeling drained, carrying their emotional weight home. She thought her job was to heal everyone, not just their bodies, but their souls. But this left her burned out, snapping at her family, and questioning her purpose. One day, a colleague introduced her to Carl Jung's concept of shadow work. Sarah began practicing active imagination, a technique where you engage with your emotions or dream symbols as if they're living entities. In one session, she visualized her overwhelm as a heavy, dark fog. Instead of pushing it away, she asked, "What are you here to teach me?" The fog spoke back, revealing it wasn't just her patient's pain, it was the unprocessed grief of her own family, who had never dealt with a tragic loss from years ago. By acknowledging this, Sarah felt lighter. She didn't need to fix the pain, she needed to witness it. This is the heart of shadow work for empaths, learning to witness without absorbing. As a sponge, you take on emotions and carry them, believing they're yours to resolve. As an oracle, you see the emotions, name them, and let them pass through you without clinging. This shift doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop fusing with the pain of others. Carl Jung believed that true transformation happens when we face the shadow, not by fighting it, but by understanding it. For empaths, this means recognizing that the sadness, anger, or fear you feel might belong to your family, your community, or even centuries of collective trauma. Your role is to bring these truths to light, not to carry them forever. So, how do you make this shift? Let's break it down into practical steps. First, practice discernment. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask, is this mine? Or am I picking up something else? This simple question helps you separate your emotions from the collective. Journaling can deepen this practice. Write down what you feel, when it started, and what was happening around you. Over time, you'll notice patterns, like feeling anxious in certain places or with certain people. Second, strengthen your boundaries. Visualize a protective shield of light around you before entering emotionally charged situations, like a tense family gathering or a crowded event. This shield doesn't block your empathy. It helps you stay grounded so you can witness without merging. Another powerful tool is active imagination. As Sarah discovered, this Jungian technique involves dialoguing with your emotions or dream symbols to uncover their deeper meaning. For example, if you feel a sudden wave of anger, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine the anger as a character. Ask it, what do you want me to know? You might be surprised by the answers. Maybe the anger isn't yours, but a reflection of a co-worker's unspoken frustration or a family pattern of suppressed rage. By engaging with these emotions symbolically, you transform them from overwhelming forces into messages you can understand and release. Let's look at another example. Imagine you're an empath who feels drained after scrolling through social media. When news of global crises floods your feed, instead of absorbing the collective fear, try this. Acknowledge the emotion, saying, I see you, fear, but I don't need to carry you. Then, ground yourself, step outside, feel the earth under your feet, or focus on your breath. This practice helps you stay present without becoming a sponge. Over time, you'll notice you can feel deeply without losing yourself, like an oracle standing at the edge of the collective shadow, seeing its truths without being pulled under. The journey from sponge to oracle isn't easy. It's an initiation. As Carl Jung would say, it requires facing your own shadow. 2. Many empaths secretly fear that without others' pain, they won't know who they are. You might cling to the role of fixer because it gives you purpose. Shadow work asks you to confront this fear, to ask, who am I if I'm not saving others? The answer is, liberating you're an oracle. A seer. A bridge between worlds. Your sensitivity isn't here to make you suffer. It's here to help you illuminate what's hidden, for yourself and others. By embracing shadow work, you become a witness to the collective shadow without being consumed by it. You learn to say, I see you. Pain, I honor you, but I am not you. This is the birth of your sovereignty as an empath. In the next chapter, we'll explore how you can take this power further, awakening the world's hidden truths and becoming a catalyst for transformation. But for now, reflect. When have you felt like a sponge, soaking up others' emotions? How might you start witnessing? Instead of absorbing, share your thoughts in the comments. We're all on this journey together. You felt it before that moment, when you sense something no one else does. Maybe it's the unspoken tension in a room, the grief behind someone's smile, or the weight of a truth the world isn't ready to face. As an empath, you've spent your life tuned into these hidden frequencies, often wondering why you're the one who feels so much. But here's the revelation. Carl Jung's work points us toward, you're not here to just feel the world's pain, you're here to awaken its hidden truths. In this final chapter, we'll explore how empaths, as bridges between the conscious and unconscious, can spark transformation in themselves and the world around them. You're not just a feeler, you're a catalyst, a living symbol of what it means to face the collective shadow and uncover its buried gold. Let's start with what it means to awaken the world's hidden truths. In Carl Jung's philosophy, the collective shadow isn't just a dumping ground for humanity's pain. It's also a treasure chest of forgotten potential. Buried within it are not only the rage, shame, and trauma we've repressed, but also the brilliance, creativity, and sacred wisdom we've lost touch with. Think of the collective shadow as a vault. It holds the ugliness of war, prejudice, and betrayal, but it also guards the untamed joy, instinctual power, and divine connection humanity has forgotten. As an empath, your sensitivity gives you a key to this vault. You don't just feel the pain, you sense the gold. 2. Your role is to bring both into the light, not to fix or erase them, but to make them visible so others can see, heal, and grow. This is where empaths shine as catalysts. By simply being present with what's hidden, by naming the pain, acknowledging the joy, or witnessing the truth, you create a ripple effect. Your presence invites others to face what they've avoided. Carl Jung called this the transcendent function, the process of bridging opposites, light and dark, conscious and unconscious, to create something new. As an empath, you embody this function. You don't preach or force change. You model what it looks like to live with open eyes and an open heart. Your ability to feel deeply, without running from the discomfort, shows others that it's possible to face the shadow and find meaning in it. Let's bring this to life with a story. Meet Elena, a 40-year-old artist from a small town in Oregon. Elena always felt like an outsider, overwhelmed by emotions she couldn't explain. She'd sensed the tension in her community, racial divides, unspoken grief from economic struggles, but no one talked about it. Instead of retreating, Elena started hosting art workshops where people could express their feelings through painting and storytelling. She didn't try to fix their pain. She created a space for it to be seen. One participant, a middle-aged man named Tom, shared a story of loss he'd buried for decades. Through tears, he painted his grief, and others in the group began opening up. 2. Elena's presence, her willingness to witness without judgment, sparked a transformation. The group didn't just heal, they connected, forming a community that was stronger because they faced their shadows together. Elena wasn't a healer in the traditional sense. She was a catalyst, awakening truths that had been buried. This is the power of an awakened empath. You don't need to save the world. You just need to show up as you are, fully present, fully feeling. Your sensitivity becomes a beacon, inviting others to look at what they've ignored. But this isn't about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about living authentically, embracing your role as a bridge between what's seen and what's unseen. Carl Jung believed that true transformation happens when we integrate the shadow, not by eliminating it, but by honoring its lessons. For empaths, this means standing in the discomfort of the collective shadow, whether it's the pain of a divided society or the forgotten joy of creativity, and saying, I see you. I'm not afraid. So, how do you step into this role? First, trust your sensitivity. Stop doubting the emotions you feel or the insights you pick up. If you sense something, Whether it's tension in a conversation or a deeper truth about your community, you trust that it's real. Your intuition is your guide. Second, practice presence over performance. You don't need to fix anyone or prove your worth by solving their problems. Simply being there, listening, and acknowledging what's true can be enough. For example, if a friend is struggling but won't admit it, you might say, "I notice you seem heavy lately. Want to talk?" This small act of witnessing can open a door for transformation. Another key is to live symbolically. As Carl Jung encouraged, the collective shadow often speaks through symbols in dreams, art, or even fleeting feelings. Pay attention to these. If you dream of a burning forest or feel a sudden pang of grief, don't dismiss it. Explore it through journaling, art, or active imagination. Ask, what is this symbol trying to tell me? Maybe the burning forest reflects a collective fear of change, or the grief is tied to an unhealed wound in your family. By engaging with these symbols, you unlock their wisdom, becoming a conduit for the collective unconscious to speak. Let's look at a broader example. During times of social upheaval, like protests or cultural shifts, empaths often feel the collective shadow intensely. You might sense the anger, fear, or hope rippling through society. Instead of absorbing it, I try channeling it. Write a poem, create a piece of art, or start a conversation that invites others to reflect. Your role isn't to solve the world's problems, but to hold space for its truths. When you do this, you become a catalyst for what Carl Jung called individuation. On a collective level, a process where society begins to integrate its shadow, becoming more whole. The beauty of this role is that it doesn't require you to be loud or forceful. Your presence alone is enough. When you stand in your truth as an empath, unapologetic about your sensitivity, unafraid of the shadow, you create a field of energy that others feel. They may not understand it, but they'll sense the authenticity, the courage, the sacredness of your being. This is how you awaken the world's hidden truths, not by preaching, but by embodying. You show others what it looks like to feel deeply, to live honestly, and to face the shadow without flinching. As we wrap up this chapter, remember this: you're not here to carry the world's pain forever. You're here to name it, witness it, and help others see it. 2. Your sensitivity is your strength, your compass, your gift to a world that's forgotten how to feel. In our final section, the outro, we'll tie it all together and leave you with a powerful call to embrace your role as an empath. But for now, take a moment to reflect. When have you felt a truth no one else seemed to notice? How can you start sharing that truth with the world? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We can't wait to hear your story. We've reached the end of our journey, and what a revelation it's been. As an empath, you're not just feeling the world's pain, you're a bridge to its hidden truths. Carl Jung saw your sensitivity as a sacred gift, an initiation into a profound purpose. You're not here to fix the world or carry its burdens forever. You're here to awaken it, to shine a light on the collective shadow, the pain, dreams, and wisdom humanity has buried. You are exactly what this world needs. Let's recap. We've uncovered the collective shadow, reframed your sensitivity as a divine tool, learned how to move from sponge to oracle, and seen how your presence can spark transformation. Your tears carry centuries. Your heart holds forgotten gold. And your courage to feel deeply is a beacon for change. The world is at a turning point. And you, empath, are at its heart, naming truths, witnessing pain, and awakening hope. So, what's next? Trust your sensitivity. Pause when emotions hit and ask, is this mine? Ground yourself in nature or through journaling. Share your light, a conversation, a kind gesture, or simply, your presence can change everything. You don't need to save the world. Your authenticity is enough. We want to hear from you. When have you felt a truth others missed? Share your story in the comments, it might inspire someone else. If this resonated, hit like, subscribe to Jung Psyche Hub, and tap the bell for more Jungian insights. Share this with an empath who needs it. You were never born to heal the world. You were born to awaken it. Your sensitivity is your superpower. Go shine.